Hi, this is Radek. In this video, you are going to discover which halters will make your job easier, which harder, and which ones are suitable for which training phase. You will also discover why a long lead rope might sometimes be better than a lunge line. In the second part of the video, you are going to see the best way to start riding bitless. I will show you how to do it and what to expect the first time you try. You are going to see a horse that was never ridden bitless before, and I will attempt to ride on him bitless for the very first time. While working or playing with your horse from the ground, there are two things about the way you communicate with him that are important. You need to understand why your horse behaves the way he behaves, or what is it that causes him to behave as he does in the moment. And you also need to know how to react on it, in a way that your horse would understand. You want the communication between the two of you to be clear, so you understand your horse and your horse can understand you. Now you can see the way I work with my horse on the circle. He's trying to get out of the circle and make it bigger. As my horse tensions the lead rope, trying to make the circle bigger, I react by pulling on the lead rope instead of letting him to make the circle bigger. Then, when I get my horse to get back on the original circle, so the lead rope is not too loose and not too tensioned, I can stop pulling on it and release the pressure. I keep repeating this over and over again until my horse just goes on a circle with the lead rope just slightly loose. In a few minutes my horse significantly improved and I'm now able to correct him using much lower pressure. If you want your horse to understand what you're asking, in this case that you want him to make the circle smaller, you need two things. The first thing you need is to pull on the lead rope in the correct moment. Then, when your horse gets back on the original circle, you need to release the pressure. The second thing that you need is a good training halter. This type of a rope halter will allow you to make the communication with your horse clearer and you will improve faster. The reason is that this halter is designed to make a bigger difference between the time when your horse does what you are asking and between the time that he's not doing what you are asking. It makes the yes and no easier to distinguish for your horse. When your horse starts pulling on the lead rope, trying to get on a bigger circle or even run away, the knot will make it more uncomfortable for him. Then on the other hand, when he stops pulling on the lead rope and does what you're asking, the pressure and discomfort will immediately go away. Bigger difference between right and wrong allows your horse to understand you much better than he would otherwise. He can tell when he's doing what you want, and he can tell when he's not doing what you want. That way he can learn and understand you much quicker. Training halter like mine helps you to get quicker and better results, not just while lunging. It helps you in all the other situations as well. For example, when your horse doesn't want to start walking with you and it just stands still, or when he keeps walking too slow. It also makes it much easier to handle your horse when he tries to run away from you while on the lead rope. All you need to focus on is pulling on the lead rope when your horse misbehaves and always releasing the pressure as soon as your horse does what you wanted. Now let's take a look at a halter you should definitely avoid using when training your horse. Padded halters are a bit like laying your face down on a pillow. They make it comfortable for your horse to lean on it and pull on the lead rope. So for example, when he tries to make the circle bigger, just stand still when you ask him to walk, or when he just completely misbehaves and tries to run away, he's not going to feel any discomfort going against the pressure and it will be basically impossible for you to hold him. You definitely should not use such halters for training purposes. Personally, I just don't ever use them with my horses. I've seen many horses that learned to run away because their owners were using padded halters. They learn that they can easily get loose and run away. And fixing something like that can be very difficult because your horse will already know that it is possible for him to run away. He will fight with you much more even after you start using a training halter. Halter like this without the padding is already much better, and you can definitely use it to walk with your horse from the pasture or to do all the basic things. Now let's talk about the lead rope I use and why I use it. I'm using a thick 4.5 meter long lead rope. 4.5 meters is long enough for lunging my horse with it when we work on a smaller circle. I can use the end of the lead rope instead of a whip to urge my horse in case I need to. The closer you get to your horse, the more pressure you are creating. Your horse is going to react very differently even when you ask him exactly the same way, but just standing further from him. Stand 2 meters away from him and he will listen much better than when you are asking exactly the same way, but just standing 4 meters away. This is why it's better to walk closer to your horse while lunging, other than to have him on a long lunge line and just stand in the middle. Especially a young horse is going to learn better and quicker if you get closer to him. Longer, around 3 meters long lead rope is also better when you are just walking with a young horse to the pasture. For example, with a horse that continues to get too close to you. A long lead rope will allow you to easily maintain around the 1 meter distance between you and the horse while also having enough of the lead rope left to correct him with it, if necessary. Like that, you can use it to teach your horse to respect your space when he gets too close and tries to walk in front of you. If you have a lead rope that is shorter than the one you can see in the video, it's not going to be long enough to ask your horse to back up in front of you while maintaining the correct distance. That can end up being quite unpleasant with some horses. A rope halter like mine that has metal rings on the sides where you can attach your reins is also a great way to start riding bitless. If your horse has issues with his teeth, or if someone in the past just didn't use the bit correctly with him and your horse now doesn't like it, my halter can be the perfect solution. Having your reins attached to both sides of your horse's head, like you can see it with my halter, allows you to ask your horse to turn his head to the side and do all the important back and neck relaxing exercises much easier when compared to just attaching the reins in one place under your horse's head. Now you can see what happens when I try to ride bitless with a young horse for the first time. This horse was never ridden without a bit before. Now it's the first time that I'm riding him without a bit, just on my training halter. It's easy to turn, I can ask him to adjust his head position and turn it to the side to do the stretching exercises. Getting your horse to listen willingly while riding bitless requires you to work correctly with the pressure. Focus on applying the pressure in the correct moment and always releasing it after your horse does what you asked. I pull a single rein when I want my horse to turn his head to the side and relax his neck. When he does, I immediately release the pressure. I ask my horse using both of my reins while I want him to go on a circle or to turn, similarly to when I ride with the bit. I use the inner rein to turn my horse's head towards the inside of the circle, while I use the outside rein to guide my horse through the turn or the circle. It works the same way when you ask your horse to stop. I just gently and gradually start pulling on both of the reins. I keep slowly increasing the pressure until my horse stops. As soon as he does, I release the pressure. You are going to need to use less pressure while riding on my training halter when compared to other types of bitless riding. There's just one thing to keep in mind while riding bitless. When you are just riding and you don't want to ask your horse anything, for example, you don't want to ask him to turn, to stop, or just to do anything that he's not doing already, Make sure that you are working with your reins correctly and that you are not pulling on them when you are not asking for anything. Riding bitless doesn't mean that you don't have to be gentle with the reins. My training halter can make it a lot easier for your horse to understand what you want. It allows you to progress much quicker when you start riding bitless. However, it doesn't mean that you can forget about being gentle with your reins. Another benefit of my training halter is that it's going to fit your horse perfectly. A lot of halters that you can find in the stores or online don't fit that well. For example, they tend to spin and cover your horse's eye when you pull on the lead rope. My training halter never goes over your horse's eye like a lot of the other ones do. It's important for your halter to fit properly on the front part of it. It shouldn't be too loose because then it tends to spin around your horse's head. This is the place where your halter really should fit well. If it doesn't fit in the front, it's kind of like as if you wore shoes that are 3 sizes bigger. You could theoretically walk in them, but it wouldn't be very pleasant. When I started riding, I was using cheap halters from the store. Over time, I started seeing the differences and why is it actually really worth it to get some of the better ones. So I started buying some of the most expensive halters because they really made a difference in the way I was able to communicate with my horse. But now I wanted something more than that. So over the past years I was working on my own halters. And I wanted to create the ultimate training halter. One that helps you to communicate with your horse clearly, fits perfectly, and one that you can also use to ride bitless. After using my own halters, I just would never go back. And I want to offer you one as well. All my halters are tailor-made to specifically fit your horse. It's normal to get a tailor-made saddle, and I believe your halter should be tailor-made to fit your horse as well. You'll be able to feel great improvements and your horse will understand you better. You can even use it to start riding bitless. You have seen a horse that I rode bitless for the very first time in this video. My halter is a great way to start. However, there is something you need to know. A great halter can make a big difference. But of course it's not just about the halter. It's like cooking. You can have Gordon Ramsay's kitchen and all his ingredients, but that doesn't really guarantee that you are going to make a great meal. You can have the best halter, but if you don't know how to use it properly, it's going to do you no good. This is why, to really make it the ultimate halter, I'm giving it away with a 1-month subscription to all my training systems. So you not just get the halter, but you also get all my premium training videos and training systems detailing each exercise I do with my horses, and also showing you how to solve all the most and less common problems you might have with your horse. So here's how it works. For just $28, you are going to receive a tailor-made halter, and I will also give you 1 month of access to all my training systems, so you can really get the most out of your new halter. Worldwide shipping is already included in the price. It doesn't matter if you live in the USA, Australia, Canada, or somewhere in Europe. The shipping price is already included. You will receive your tracking number as soon as your halter is sent. After the first month, you are going to be charged a small fee of $17 per month to maintain access to my training systems. You can cancel that anytime. If you decide during the first month that you get free of charge with your halter that you don't want to continue, just let me know and you will not be charged for the second month of access. So now, click on the button below. Fill out all the necessary information and click the button. Don't worry that you have not submitted the measurements needed to make your halter. You will receive the instructions for measuring your horse after the payment goes through. After it goes through, you're going to see a form where you can fill out your shipping address and where I will show you how to measure your horse so we can make you a halter that fits your horse perfectly. You will also receive an email with all this information in case you close the page after the payment. So, to order, just fill out your info, and after the payment goes through, you are going to immediately get access to the training and also the instructions to measure your horse. After you measure him, just reply to my email with the instructions and I will get your halter made and send it to you within a few business days. You are going to be surprised what a great tailor-made training halter together with a step-by-step training system can help you to achieve. You'll be able to progress faster than ever before, and your horse will be able to understand you much better. Starting to ride bitless will be easier than ever before. If you have any questions, my customer support is at standby. Just write me an email on radek@invisiblehorsecontrol.com and we'll do our best to answer all your questions. Thank you for watching.